think we're live here. Hey guys, United here, and we are back with Train Simulator World. Yeah, so today, it looks like, actually, I don't know if you saw it on the screen there for a moment in the beginning there, but we're about 44 down, and, we're getting there. We're getting pretty close. Let's see, it's 1 right now, so closest one was gonna be oh wow, okay, 112. We'll do that. So northbound local. Okay. Yeah, we could do that. Oh yeah, look at that. I was actually just about to mention that. Just got the email probably the other day. I was just searching through it that Train Sim World 2 is coming out in August, which is, yeah, that's something. I don't know what route they're gonna get with the CSX. It's probably gonna go back to the heavy haul or something, which I think I tried it like once or something like that. I think I tried the demo, but it all honestly depends on which routes they have or get. Like, because that subway also looks interesting as well. I may very well get Train Sim World 2. It all honestly depends on the situation and whether I want to get it or not. Turn her up here for another run. Turn off the lights. Cut in the brakes. Let's see. I think I have everything here. A little difficult to see today because I'm using a smaller TV than usual. Changing up some things in my home here. Okay, yeah. So we got it clear, and I've actually never knelt down to look at the signals like this before, but it looks pretty nice because they have like each and every little LED like there. It's pretty cool. All right, step back to the cab. Caution. Doors are about to close. Next stop, Santa Clara. Highball, San Jose. Over to the maintenance facility. Yeah, it looks like there are quite a few trains right now. I mean, I guess it is midday, so it's not too terribly crucial out here. Stand right here. Now I don't know if well, maybe I just don't spend as much time in the cab car, but where would the, like, I don't know where the voltmeter would be for here, because like obviously here's the train brakes here, here's the speed here. Usually on the F40 it would, you know, it'd be right here, but in the cab car, I mean obviously the cab car isn't powered at all. You know, all the stuff is, you know, in the engine behind. And that's basically what's powering the train. It's pushing the train backwards, essentially. And that it allows the, you know, the engine to basically work from the opposite end of the train. I just know from experience from driving the M40 that, you know, if I set it to 5 immediately after that, you know, I'm getting the maximum power output from the initial run, something like that. You know, it's easier that way. Arriving Santa Clara. Here's you can hear some jets from San Jose. I'm like about 30 seconds behind, so I need to catch up now. Lawrence, Lawrence has the 4-track one where where an express has the possibility to pass me, but I know there's isn't an express behind me, just because of the scheduling. But yeah, so get it up like that. Here. I'm shocked how far, you know, because the stations in the southern section are at least like, you know, San Jose, Santa Clara, Lawrence. They're actually pretty decently spaced, like in terms. The other like the stations primarily in the middle, those are the ones that are like super close together, and it's like, how do you get? If they even get the trains up to 79 out there? It's insane. I've actually been thinking about taking away the blue marker, primarily because that it gives me the you know, ability to basically allow the train to, you know, or allow me to judge the stations, you know, accordingly. Now obviously I'll be doing it on this route because, well, what other route would I be able to do it on? But it'll basically give me the opportunity to really kind of judge it by eye. Now, today I'm gonna definitely be practicing that, but we'll see how it goes. Yeah, that's the same line here. Probably get up to 75 here before I start braking. Yeah, once that yard thing starts out, start seeing yards there, then that'll start, you know, really bringing her back. Set the throttle idle. Okay, yeah, there we go. Set the brakes just a little bit. There we go. Put it on hold for right now. Actually, probably service it just a little bit. Allow it to, there we go. Brought her back just in time. Beautiful. Yeah, I'm wondering what they do with that spur over here. I mean, I see some industries over here, but I'm curious about what they put in that spur. There he comes. Oh, that's cool. I don't think, no, I mean, I am using headphones, obviously, because I'm, you know, talking, but, I've never heard the reverb of the bell when the train comes into the station, because the AI trains, they don't use bells or horns or anything like that. They're too proto-realistic. Beautiful. Arrived 5 seconds early, too. That's awesome. That's awesome, awesome. Awesome sauce. Yeah, okay, I guess we're, I guess they're having us wait for what's it called? The high-speed service, which they'll be passing by very, very shortly. Or, no, I guess not. I guess it's just, giving me the, opposite, or, it changes the lights just so that way, you know, it knows that I'm stopping at the station, I guess. It's like, hey, dummy, you were supposed to stop at that station. Now, if there was an express service or something like that, like direct, which I don't know what they would ever decide to do that, but I would adore that. That'd be fun. That'd be really fun. Yeah, I'll probably, like, the one, like, I would probably end up doing a local, because, I mean, actually, the baby bullets and, the, whatever the other one's called, because there's the baby bullets, which are the actual true high-speed trains, that, you know, they stop at, like, the least amount of stops. Then there's, I think the middle one's just called the express service or something, but yeah, I think a local would be a lot easier because that allows me to basically stop at almost every stop along the way. I think there's like a few stops that's the exemption that no trains stop at. At least I don't think I've ever stopped at one of them. I'll point it out once we get there. Should be further down the line here. Stop in Sunnyvale. Oh yeah. I was like, wait a minute. How far am I from that station? And then once it started seeing that going on, it was like, okay, welcome aboard. We're doing train 1 something. It's a local service. We'll be arriving at Sunnyvale just a few moments. Another jet there. Arrived a full minute ahead of schedule. Which is doing a lot better than I was earlier. I was like 30 seconds behind, but you know what? I caught up on time. Drop that bar down to there. Yeah, I've got a good minute. Set up the camera for a good spot here. I'll do the bridge. Yeah, I'll do up here. Which they actually animated the roadway. Yeah, right up there. There we go. And we're at Sunnyvale. Yeah, interesting station. It's not the most interesting station on the line, but it's definitely a good station, an interesting one. Interesting that they actually, you know, that they modeled, you know, the conversations. It's interesting. All right, here we go. A little immersion braking that the exhaust goes through the roadway, but oh well. What are you supposed to do? I mean, what is this, flight simulator? Be interesting to see what they do. I mean, exhaust physics, I mean, are not too terribly crucial, but it'd be interesting to see what they do for Train Sim World 2. See what they decide to do. So I just see an X just crossing the path. One of these stops is like just right before the middle section where they have like stops like every mile or something like that. Though, actually, you know what? Actually, come to think of it, the most of the stops are actually about the same, pretty much the same distance actually. Some of them are disproportionately like further apart than others, but I feel like most of the stops are actually pretty much the same in terms of distance, relatively. Alright, go. And I've been trying to figure out which metro this one is. From Mountain View here, because it's like right there, and it would be interesting if they could actually model the metros in each individual places. But I guess that might be asking a little bit too much. I mean, they are already modeling the Union Pacific trains, so might as well, you know, just stick to the commercial trains for now, or the Caltrans. Caltrans and UP. That's basically all you need in terms of the standard gauge. Though I did, from what I did see, the trailer for the new Train Sim World 2. They're actually they're gonna be using a subway, so that'd be interesting to see. Dun, dun. Looks like I was about 30 seconds off on that one. Stop. San Antonio. That was interesting. A little bounce there. I don't think that's ever happened before. Could just be my eyes playing tricks on me, but we'll see. There. Are mile and a half away. Ah. Super quickly, super quickly. I don't even know if I'll have time to do this, but I saw a map, or I saw one of the maps here. I haven't done it. I haven't even gotten out on the train yet, so. Oh yeah. Yeah, at least get the route maps. I'll have to do the other side because I don't think I've done San Antonio yet. 9, 10, 11, 12. Oh, don't. Ah, come on. Oh, I hope the PCS isn't open. I hope I didn't dump out all the air. Oh, wait, hold on. I saw it moving. Loosely. Very loosely. You know, it might actually help to lock the doors first. I forgot about that. That was why the train wasn't moving at all. Well, so much for making it to California Avenue on time, but oh well. It's a very video game-esque sort of vibe to it, you know? I mean, unless Caltrans has gotten to the point where it's like, hey, while you're out on your run, can you replace this route map that someone evidently forgot to put up or something? It's like you're the only one running the railroad. Well, obviously you're not, but it's like the only one that's cares about running the railroad outside of driving the trains? Yeah, it's about 2 miles away, and I need to be there in 2 minutes. See how good I can get it. Well, as long as some of the cars get it. That's all this game really cares about. Yeah, let's see. So we're a minute behind, and I overshot it by 2 cars. Well, it could have been worse. Could have been way worse. Oh, that was weird. I looked at because it was the menu thing. The menu thing was like just over that that light over there, and it almost kind of looked like the lunar light. I was like, wait a minute, they have that? It's like, honestly, I've never seen the lunar light outside of like images from like the East Coast or something, and I really don't even know if they use it like in other parts of the world. Or it's just the lunar light is an oddity to me. Palo Alto. Okay, yeah, this is a stop. There's nothing here. It's just a platform. So, I don't even know what that stop is, if it is a stop at all. I mean, it's got to be something, right? It may actually make it, at least within the minute. Now arriving Palo Alto. Like probably 30 seconds late. But that'll be okay. That's manageable. Boom. Oh, there we go. Put it back on hold for a little. I think I've got like maybe a pound, 1 pound of pressure, like at all. All right. Next stop, Menlo Park. Oh, I was like, wait a minute. Why do I hear applause? Because that's why. It's a park with no people. Woo! Clapping cars, because I guess I can. So I've never really driven the train with the window open. Too terribly much, I guess. And also, I drive more at night, but that's besides the point. Yeah, that's the tricky thing about getting behind on time. You get caught in a rut, essentially. And it's hard to get out of it. Though I have broken, I've broken that before, because they expect you to drive like you know, a certain way, but I know how to make it like as beneficial to me as possible. We're still 30 seconds behind on time right now, but it's better than being, you know, a minute, which is, I believe, was what I was. And I'm stopping right on the dot, which is, well, also better than I was a few stops ago when I stopped like 2 cars over the line there. Caution. There we go. It looks like yeah, I guess I forgot the difference between Menlo and Redwood. I forgot how distant that was. The train really actually gets up to 79 here. The thing I said earlier in the broadcast that I knew that there was a kind of a closer section. I mean, I guess like there are I think what I'm referring to in terms, like in the middle section of the track, like, or the route, I mean, it's when you're driving through, like, dead through the middle of, like, downtown, and, I'm trying to remember where that is. I think it actually might be Redwood City or something, because there's, like, it's like this a lot of the time, where it's, they have this Broadway of tracks, and trees generally on both sides, yards sometimes, but it's this is what I was referring to as opposed to you know, the downtown sections. I think I might actually make it here at Redwood. That'll be nice. Of course, I stop it. Wait, okay, well, whatever. I guess it don't matter. As long as I get it all in. Let's see how much overhang I did, because I was way too heavy on the brakes. A car overhang, and well, the locomotive, but nobody gets on the locomotive other than the train crew. Oh well. I could have done better, but well, I did it. Anyways. Redwood City, what does it say? Climate best by government test. Well, that's nice. You know, it's funny. I was just watching this. No, it wasn't watching something. It was a Twitter post that I just came across. That was it's taken from, I believe, inside the Illinois Railroad Museum's like shop building, like where they you know maintain their stuff. And one of the first comments on there was because one of the vehicles in the background was a cab car for the Chicago Northwestern that was this type of cab car that had the green tinted windows, and I was like, oh my gosh, the green tinted windows. I personally thought they were cool. Like, in my personal opinion, I've never ridden on the green tinted cab cars, and I think I've only seen one person film a video from the inside of the green tinted cab cars. But kind of that other person, you know, verified it with me that the green tint is just awful, like in all sense of the term. You really can't, you know, go right with the green tint on the windows, because not only does it make it kind of, you know, green on the inside as opposed to clear, but apparently they scratch way easier. And so if you really wanted to, you know, look out the window, tough luck. You just gotta look at this green tinted thing, because that's all you're getting. So, oh well. Now granted, you know, it's hard to find them in service anyways. I mean, most of these cars, I imagine, because, well, I know that a lot of these cars, actually, they were built, like, 60s or something like that. So they're getting up there in age, and I know that probably within, like, the next couple of years here, they're gonna want to be retiring these cars, because if you watch my broadcast regularly, and you know that I've been talking about this for a while, is that they're actually electrifying the northeast corridor is electrified. I actually donated some of the equipment from the northeast corridor to the Peninsula corridor. That's what it's called. They donated the stuff here, so that way it allows them to test it. It should be within the next couple of years here that we'll see electric trains there. And I believe what was it, when the 150th anniversary of the Transcontinental Railroad, when they were doing that, I think there was a National Railroad Convention in Salt Lake. They had a, like, what is it called? A warehouse? Yeah, a train shed, essentially. But it showed one of the new kind of EMUs. They're actually getting multiple unit sets that are gonna basically, they kind of look like Pacers. They're not Pacers. Sprinters, that's what they're called. I was thinking, I've got too much British Rail on my mind. I'm like, Pacer, you know, the bus that they basically slapped on a wet rail buggy. I was on a Discord chat with some chaps that you know, they were talking about how horrible the Pacer was, and they were like saying, oh, it's basically a bus with bogies, and I was like, well, you know, we had that here in the United States, right? And they were like, what? And I showed them the pictures of the Aero Train, which, quick history lesson, the Aero Train was GM's whack at basically trying to get into the, I mean, not really get into it, but just kind of salvage what of the dying railroad industry. Because they saw, you know, the potential that high-speed rail may have a foothold in the future. And so they started, they built this, I guess it was a prototype of sorts. It never, I don't think it ever ran a revenue service. It didn't last too terribly long. I think it lasted maybe even less than a decade. But basically what they did is they took the standard, you know, GM bus design with the wings in the back, and they basically they slapped it on rail bogies, and they created a train set, and it looked aesthetic, like really, really aesthetic. And if you're watching this on, you know, YouTube or something like that, I would say just hit that plus, open a new tab, and like just check it out, because it's definitely one of those trains that it holds quite a bit of significance in. I mean, it didn't do anything. It just looked really cool, and it was kind of ironic that roads, which ultimately mostly ended up killing rail as well as air travel, but most of that tried to play a part in, you know, trying to revive rail travel for, you know, the future, but most of it ended up failing anyways. Another interesting one, like in terms of experimental trains, that actually drove this one actually drove. There was the New York Central, which is probably one of the most popular railroads out there next to the Pennsylvania Railroad. New York Central had this whole department that was basically on like technology, and well, they wanted to like find a way that they can, you know, bring in, you know, their own, like, what am I'm trying to say, like, they wanted to make their rail travel, you know, like much faster, because the New York Central held the vaunted route between Chicago and New York. So what they wanted to do is they wanted to kind of take the speed of air travel but bring it back to the rails. And I believe it was about 1956 or 7, it was sometime after the 707 dropped, that they basically said, hey, with those jet engines that they have on the commercial airliners, why don't we bring that technology to the rails? And so they took like an RDC, basically like a rail car, and then they slapped 2 jet engines on the top of it, which it definitely is something. And they started testing it, and I don't exactly remember when those tests were. They may have been in the 50s as well, maybe late 50s. But there's a rather infamous test where they were testing this jet train, and it ran through this neighborhood in New York, and it shattered every window in the neighborhood because the line ran right through the center of town. And, well, those people were pissed at the New York Central because, well, you know, the New York Central had to pay like probably a good $1 million of damages, and well, just they dropped it, and I think that was basically the only time that a jet engine in terms was put on an American train. I know that I think maybe the Russians tried it, but the Russians are the Russians. The Russians did a lot of things. That's something. I saw a map. Let's see. I think. Oh, it's over here. Duh. Oh, I already got this one. Yeah, the only one that kind of like also like this one that sounded like a jet engine, which was also an interesting delve into technology, was the turbine trains. And the only one that I knew for a long time was the turbine train that UP built, that they ran out in Wyoming. It basically like it's like it was a hungry beast, but it had about 6,000 horsepower, which is insane to say the least. That it needed a fuel car, it needed a water car, and those engines were just long. It was it's definitely something, and I think they ran them up to the 70s. They came out in like the 60s or 50s, and they ran them a good 20 years, which is pretty good in terms of something that wild and crazy. And of note that I said the turbo train, or the turbo train, that one was the only American one that I knew. But I learned that Japan also started diving into turbo trains as well, and it's sort of an anime recommendation here as well. If you don't mind fan service, probably one of the best railroad-centered animes that I've ever seen. Like in terms of how deep they dive into like history and like actual technology and everything like that. It's called Rail Wars. It's set in an alternate, like I don't know, alternate present essentially. That where in 1987 the Japanese National Railways was split up into the 7 major JR companies. Basically, it asks, what if that never happened? And so it's centered around these high schoolers who, or I guess they're high schoolers. They don't really specify. I assume they are. But anyhow, they wanna all join the railroads, and it's about them, basically working in this. Trying to say like in a, I don't know, intern or something that allows them to be hired on as full-time employees for JR. But it's a pretty good series. Anyhow, the last episode of that series, it glances over a really cool like turbo train design, which looks like it came about around the same time as some of the other trains. It's got that 50s, 60s design. I hear it also was like a lot of them, because that was the one thing. That's why the UP thing ran out in the desert. Those trains were loud, like really, really loud. Like the what is it? Rail fans likened them to, what do they call them? Screamers or something? Yeah, they called them screamers, or it was because it was basically, it sounded like a jet engine. Like that's how loud these things were. Like, you know, they were flying a jet at ground level with the, you know, 747 engines on full tilt. You know. So obviously the trains didn't they weren't as popular. Now the Japanese one, I believe it was Kiha, which is the companies. I don't know too terribly much about Japanese trains unless you're asking me about the Shinkansen or something. But anyhow, it's really cool. I definitely recommend, like, if you watch anime, and I mean you're watching this right now, you would definitely enjoy Rail Wars. It's one of those series that I feel like they did like excellent job, and just like if they had more, you know, dramas and series like that here in the United States that were accurate, like you know, like that, I feel like a lot more people would be interested in rail. Of course, it may help that the Japanese already love trains as it is. There's a good there's a sizable amount of people in Japan that consider themselves otakus just for trains. And another series I just finished, actually, in terms of anime. It's one called Chunibyo. Don't ask me to pronounce the whole title. Or no, actually, I know the whole title. It's Love, Chunibyo, and Other Delusions. I was trying to think, how do I say the Japanese title? But I was like, you know what? There's an English title too. Anyhow, also great anime. Put that on your watch list if you're watching this. That one has a 2 seasons and a movie. Funny thing, actually, I was watching the first season, and I finished the first season, and I didn't know there was a second season. I thought you know, it went first season, you know, movie, but then I saw that there was a second season, and in the movie there is a character from the second season. So I'm like, of course, why not? I almost did the same thing with K-On! But thanks to K-On! Being on Netflix and all that fun stuff, and, you know, Netflix actually having, you know, the season stuff, I was actually able to see it. And also another funny thing, Love, Chunibyo, and Other Delusions is also on Netflix, but I didn't know that. So I watched it on another online anime service. So I guess that's what I get for not checking. I mean, I guess I should have guessed, but that's the one tricky thing about my anime list, which is the anime service that I use, is that it doesn't necessarily say if there's more to it, like in terms of you know, the thing. You have to scroll down all the way to the bottom and like look at it, and then it's like, I think if you click on each one, it'll say, "Oh, this is the definitive sequel series." Like, what is it? I keep talking about anime here, but another anime I just finished, also really great one. Each one I'm talking about, I always recommend my anime. But Steins Gate, if you like Back to the Future and like sci-fi movies, you'll love Steins Gate. Steins Gate is one of those de facto, you know, time travel shows, and it's really good, really good. Anyhow, the first season goes about for 24 episodes, and then there, I have it on Blu-ray actually. So they just kept going, and there's a bonus episode, which thankfully I was paying attention, because the thing on my anime list only listed 24 episodes as opposed to the 25 that's on the Blu-ray. And so I'm like, huh, okay. I flipped through it, and eventually I found that, hey, this is a bonus episode, and it says only included on the Blu-ray disc, and it's like, what do you know? So it pays to pay attention. Unlike me. Next stop, Millbrae. Oh wow, we're just chugging right along here. And after that, it's we're basically on the home stretch. Yeah, I always forget how short the schedule is with these things. Like, you know, it only takes really an hour and a half to do this, like in terms, like maybe 2 hours, if you're really kind of like liberal about it, you know. That's, you know, you're. What I'm trying to say. Some people will know what I'm trying to say. A lot of people won't, but what I'm trying to say is that if you're a lot more, you know, sticking to the schedule and everything like that, then it's, you know, it's not a very long route in all terms. And I've been looking to join one of these rail lines, and I probably wouldn't mind joining this rail line up here. Like, I'm not too terribly big a fan of San Francisco in terms, but this I feel like the rail line is, you know, it kind of allows you to, you know, kind of go where you please, because there's so many communities that Caltrains serve that you can literally live in almost every single one of them, or not every single one of them, but you can live in any of them if you choose to do so. Yeah, I'm a personal fan of San Carlos. Or no, not San Carlos. Well, yes, San Carlos, because they've got a good air museum. But as well as it's the stop after Millbrae. I'm trying to remember the name of it off the top of my head. But it's one of my it's a place I stayed the last time I was up in San Francisco, which is about 2 years ago or something like that. It's a really kind of nice place, and like the place that I stayed, it was like it was just it's a nice hotel, and it was just right there. There was a school across the street and everything like that. It was nice. It's kind of home center. We'll see it on the next station. And the cool thing is that they actually modeled the hotel that I was in. I mean, granted, that's most of the buildings that were in that area, but they physically modeled it. beautiful. Awesome. Oh. Oh, that's cool. I didn't know the free camera can get on the train. Bikes and Caltrans. Rack capacity 4 bikes. Okay. Caution. Doors are about to close. Oh, there goes a plane from San Francisco International. Yeah, for you baseball fans out there, Millbrae is where you'd be getting on this train to get to the I can't remember the current park name, but you would take the train all the way to San Francisco. I know that they previously used what was it, Candlestick Park, which was out over by Bayshore, but they ever since they built the new one, which is like right there in the city, that's the one they've been using. Speaking of which, San Bruno was the one that that was the station. Like, gosh, I really like San Bruno, and as of the BART train, which you just saw dive off to the left there. Now they're not in the same area, which is a bit of a disappointment, but it does really kind of give you the, the choice in the matter of like whether you want to, take the BART train, which goes right down the Embarcadero, or you could take the Caltrains, which heads over the other way to the other side of town. I personally, I was planning to take the Caltrains because, well, I've been driving it on the simulator, and I was like, hey, you know what? I'm kind of excited to actually do that and ride those trains. But it just it turned out that, like, because the place we were going, which was right along the Embarcadero, was actually a stop on the BART. And I was like, you know what? Okay, well, our what was it, the front desk receptionist at the hotel we were staying at, that she was like, you know what? The BART basically runs right there. And we spent, I can't remember, and I spent 2 days like taking the BART. It was pretty good, actually. It was it even I think kind of the one horrible experience was that the last ride that we had on it was because we were riding back from the Embarcadero. It was late at night. It was a thunderstorm, really bad thunderstorm, and they were using the old trains, the ones that I think it was some of the first BART trains that came with the route back in the 70s, and those trains have not aged well, like at all. Like the brakes are just monstrous, and you cannot hold an intelligible conversation over the BART train. Over the older BART trains, I should say. The newer BART trains are much nicer, much cleaner too. And plus, they even have an automated voice, which is probably better on the conductor's side. stop south, San Francisco. Oh yeah, I forgot about that. I thought it went Millbrae, San Bruno, and then Bayshore instead of San Francisco, but no, I always forget about that one. Oh well. Driving to it now though. Hey, wow! Oh my gosh, I've never seen those trains running before. I always thought I did those jobs. I've never seen the AI use the freight equipment before. Nope, more reverb because we're out under this overpass. Now, I did know that the reverb actually happened because I actually remember hearing it when I was in the 22nd Street. Yeah, that's it. And 5 seconds early. I have done it again, folks. I have caught up on time. And especially crucial to have your bell on when you're in the yards like this. get the power up here. No. Okay, I guess it would be back up actually. Duh. It's interesting how much well, actually I know how it is because I know the lay of the bay here. It actually comes around like that. Oh. Forgot. We're a local service. Ah. Yeah, I hit that a little bit too fast. Oh well. Should see it up on the right hand side of the screen here, so it should say driving significant. Oh no, well, okay. I guess I already got scolded for it. Not gonna scold me for it twice, I guess. I don't know what the professional term, like how many tracks like are included on a Broadway, but I feel like when it's like 4 tracks like this, I feel like that would be in terms of a Broadway. Which, fun fact, since I mentioned PRR earlier in this broadcast. PRR's Broadway Limited. Some people think that it has to do with, you know, Broadway of New York, because the train actually did serve New York on the, I think it was the southern section. But in truth, the Broadway was in reference to the route that the train took, because PRR, that was a popular route between New York to Chicago via way of Philly. Yeah, so that was their popular term way before Broadway started showing shows. Though I would imagine Broadway did help the popularity of the train just a little bit. Just a little bit. Second ahead of schedule. stop, 22nd Street. Yeah, we're basically almost there. We'll probably be there before the hour's up. Or we'll definitely be there before the hour's up, actually. When it comes down to tunnel motors as well, the tunnel motors. It's not a tunnel motor, but I mentioned screamers earlier. I don't think that's our name in terms of the turbine engines. But I do know screamers actually is a nickname for another engine, and in fact, it's the one that's pushing us, the F40. The F40's like engines, particularly when those engines would kick into you know, higher gear. I think it was it was when the ones that had head-end power in it. The head-end power engines were always like at a metaphorical notch 8 in terms. So those engines screamed whether they were on low power or high power or anything like that. They were always working. And I guess that's what made the F40 so robust. It's just such a nice engine, and it's probably why a lot of people, especially rail fans, so that's why they like the engine so much. And the Genesis is fine. In fact, I think the Genesis is a very sharp-looking engine. Compared to the other engines in Amtrak's modern fleet, and she's a really beautiful engine actually. And I'm kind of happy that she's really stood as the kind of flagship of the Amtrak fleet for close to 30 years now, actually. I believe the first one dropped in 92, 93 or something like that. So yeah, she's getting close to the end of her career here. And if you ask me, probably, I would say, probably a decade or so. I would say by the next decade, the SC-44 is going to be the primary mode of power on Amtrak. Can't definitively say what is going to be happening with the freight engine just quite yet, terribly. The Dash 8. I don't know. We'll see. I have a feeling it may go the way of the SD45, because the SD45, well, I think it was derived off a freight engine, actually. Yes, yeah, it was derived off a freight engine. So, we'll see, we'll see. I feel like Amtrak's gonna keep that engine around, primarily for, what is it? Maintenance away trains. Yeah, we're a little bit over. Oh well. Could be worse. Yeah, the lights in this district are a little odd. They've got the Hawaii shape design. There's a 22nd Street here, which shockingly you can walk around on for the most part. Oh, and there's the fleet of school buses there, which I'm curious if that's probably where it is in real life. Though my grandma's cousin, I don't know how that stitches together, but he pointed out, oh, this isn't realistic at all. Where's the graffiti? Where's the trash? But yeah. Okay, yeah, we're on train 151. Yeah, I learned that little trick, I don't know, I can't remember how long ago. But like, if you look on the cab car, you can actually see what train you're driving. Well, that was the sound. They probably don't honk their horn in 22nd Street because of, well, that, but... Let's see how much speed I can pick up. I might get a little bit up to 40. The beautiful thing is, we'll be done definitively before probably 250. Looking at it. Which, in terms of real time, it's about 5 minutes ahead of where I am, but better than doing it like, you know, hours and hours off kilter. Do it like that. Just hold it. So we'll do it for the last crossing. Drop that speed down here. Flashing red. Looks like we're going to be put in right over there. So we're gonna hop over on this crossover here. Yep. And it looks like that service is probably gonna hop out as soon as I do. go hop in the cab and turn down the lights, because that's what nice people do. And now. Alright, perfect. Shut her down. Get the air on and cut out that valve. Beautiful. Take the reverser, take it out. Take off the gloves. Probably close up the windows here as well. Might actually, I usually I close them when I'm moving like that, but I didn't do that today. Well, all right, that was a fun one. Looks like we got the gold there, so another job well done. I would like to thank you for watching. I will see you next time. United out.